Bang! Okay, now that 4 of you know what I'm talking about. I wanted to kind of change things up a little bit and give you kind of an update. If you hear children or girls screaming, please know they're not locked in my basement. I don't have a basement. It's just my daughter's friends going crazy because it's summer now. I want to do more of like a schedule. Originally, I was thinking of trying to vlog every day of July, and I still might do that. But what I want to do is basically, because I've read kind of a lot of books this month, and doing a monthly wrap up seems not only tedious, but it would be really long, and I don't want my videos super long. So instead, I think I'm going to be doing weekly wrap ups, then maybe on like a Friday do like what I'm going to read this week kind of thing. And then Monday, I'm going to be doing more of my AuthorTube stuff to hold me accountable. Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I want to do like kind of like a history episode. Like if you saw my episode on how faucet publishing changed the publishing industry, I really enjoy stuff like that. So I'm going to try to do one of those once a week. So hopefully tomorrow I'll do one. Maybe every 2 weeks, because there's a lot that goes into those. But anyway, what's the date today? June 20th. And I'm almost done with the books that I picked for this month and read others as well. So this is going to be kind of a long, like a June wrap up till this point. Okay, let's just get things going. The Twisted Thing, Mickey Spillane. It'll be one of these things right here. This book was written right after I, the Jury, I believe in 1949. It was rejected by the publisher because the publisher wanted a real in-your-face Mike Hammer. And so they didn't put it out until, I think, 68, after The Snake, I believe. It came out then. A lot of people didn't like it, supposedly, because it was so different than the Mike Hammer of the last few books. But to me, this was so refreshing, because I was getting really irritated with the whole kind of holier than thou, I hate communists, I hate hippies, kind of Mike Hammer. Hammer went from a guy who took cases to a guy who found cases and decided whether or not he got paid that he was going to avenge the evil. And I understand that, but like in The Girl Hunters and The Snake, it went so far. Basically, The Twisted Thing was an amazing, refreshing, it made me realize why I love Mike Hammer kind of thing. It's basically about this guy, this scientist, has a kid who's been kidnapped and gets Mike Hammer to come help him find his kid. And it's in a smaller town with jerkier cops, just like a total corrupt police force and all this other stuff. Way Mike Hammer goes about finding the truth is so much more classic Mike Hammer than what Mike Hammer was turning into. Okay, so we have The Wanton, Carter Brown, Never Let You Down. Boom. Like every Carter Brown mystery, this is great. Especially the Al Wheelers. If you find any Carter Brown book, read it. You will not be disappointed. Fade to Blonde. Now this book by Max Phillips, it was the second release of Hard Case Crime. I think it won the Seamus Award or the Edgar Award. I can never remember, damn it. This book, I don't know why, but my expectations were through the fucking roof, and I was so excited to read it. I've been hanging on to it for a while, just waiting for, like, okay, now's the time I'm going to read it. And it kind of let me down, and I'll tell you why. The main character in it is great. He's like he's basically a construction worker down on his luck, needs money. He just beats the shit out of his boss to get the money that's already owed to him. And this girl basically, not in so many words, asks him to kill this guy who is threatening her if she pays him enough money. But it doesn't come off as that at first, and then the farther it goes, the farther it turns into that. The problem with this book, I don't know what the fuck happened. There was a lot of people who would come into the story and then out of the story, and then all of a sudden there was a twist-ish thing that happened, and I was like, fuck, and I was totally like, oh my gosh, this book's getting good now. And then there was one more towards the end of the book and the reveal, and at the end of it, the reveal made me realize that I had no idea what the plot of the book was. So maybe I'm just too fucking stupid for Fade to Blonde, but I didn't. The plot was the thing that made me not dig it. But the main character, what's his name? Ray Corson is amazing. He's really, really, really good. Well written, snappy dialogue. He's just really, really good. So I gave that 3 stars just because I really liked it, but after I read it, like the more minutes that went by after I read it, the more confused about what the book was actually about. Spock Must Die by James Blish. The first Star Trek novel that wasn't based on an actual episode of the TV show. This was good. I talked about it in my Star Trek book haul. I gave a little review. Basically, I gave it 3 stars. I got confused because I kept putting it down and picking it up again because there's a Spock 1 and a Spock 2. And Spock 1's doing stuff over here. Spock 2's doing stuff over here. Kirk is trying to keep track of them both. And as Kirk's getting confused, I'm getting confused. But it was an enjoyable read. And I'm going to go through and make a better system than stars on Goodreads because I don't think this is good. I'm going to be doing something else, and I'll let you know when I do it. Then, in my quest of trying to like Stephen King, I have the orange different seasons here, and I read The Body, which I have not read since I can't even remember when I read it, but The Body is what they base Stand By Me on, and it was probably the most emotional read I've had in years. It was very, very touching to me, and I think a lot of it has to do with I was that age when that movie came out, and I related with those kids so much, even though there was like a 30-year gap between when they were kids and when I was a kid. But I just really connected with them, and I gave it, if I'm giving stars to just the short story, I gave it 4 because, again, with every Stephen King book, there is so much shit in there that does not move the story forward, and it drives me absolutely crazy. It just seems like you're a race car and you're racing, and then you want to take a pit stop, and then while you're at your pit stop, you decide you're going to have an espresso and take a shit and get some girl's number, maybe have a drink, get back in the car and start the race again. And it really annoys me. And that's why I always go back to Stephen King being a paper seller, because he just sells really big, thick stacks of paper that have a little bit of story in it. I want to like him so much because I love so many of the concepts and the ideas, and it's so much of my childhood. But fucking hell, dude. Like, get a grip. So anyway, Body, amazing. Going to Shawshank Redemption, Rita Hayworth in the Shawshank Redemption next month. Next, Pinball 1973. I gave this 4 stars. It's by Haruki Murakami. I already did a review on this, so you could check that out. Notes of a Dirty Old Man. This I gave 3 stars to. This is a Charles Bukowski collection of stories that he put in, was it Open City? Shit, I can't remember the name of the newspaper. The thing I have with Bukowski is I love, and I really wanted to do a comparison between Notes of a Dirty Old Man and Post Office, because Post Office, I absolutely loved Post Office. Notes of a Dirty Old Man is a little different because it's just these stories he wrote. And some of the stories are so flippin' amazing. There's this one amazing story about this guy who is a tailor, and his friend comes over and notices that the place stinks and there's some like body in the house or something, and he's like, oh shit, well, you might want to like turn yourself in or something, maybe we could just have some tea. The guy's daughter calls, he has a conversation. It's just like the way a story is told, like you gave that plot to anybody else and that story would have came out totally different. The thing that got old, and again it's probably because they were a ton of them back to back, were all these stories about how everyone loves Charles Bukowski and he's like, fuck you, I don't give a shit. Oh no, Bukowski, you're amazing, your writing's so great. I don't care, I'm drunk, fuck you, I'm Charles Bukowski. That got old really, really quick. But it was cool seeing little tidbits that would end up in other books in there, so that was really cool. But so 3 stars. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great, not my favorite. Quarry's Cut, book 4 in the Quarry series by Max Allan Collins. Now let me just explain this to you. This book, okay, is about a guy who's going to a remote location porn shoot to assassinate somebody, okay? And Quarry is going there to try to stop it. That plot seems to me like it would be the greatest thing on earth. Porn shoot, killing, blah. And for some reason, this book was kind of boring. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm going to probably do a thing about all the Quarry books because I think this one and the next one were written like 10 years after the third Quarry book and were kind of written to end a contract. So I don't know how into it he was. I could be completely wrong about all this, by the way. But it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. I just thought it would be amazing. So, Playing with Power, my Nintendo book of all of these articles from Nintendo Power, the magazine that we all read when we were playing stuff. There's so much good stuff in it. And like I originally got it out because I was playing Super Mario Brothers 2 and I was just trying to look something up. And then in going through it, I saw all these games that I remember playing, and then I saw a bunch of games that I remember wanting that I never had. I'm like, I should be showing this to you guys. Just all of this amazing stuff, right? So that's all Mario 3 stuff. But there were a lot of games in here that I also don't even remember them coming out. So, like Star Tropics, I want to try to fuck with that now too. So it was a really good nostalgic trip by Garrett Roca, and I gave that 4 stars. And I'm like, okay, I'll do an audiobook. And I was just looking around, and I'm like, I'll do The Plague by Albert Camus. This is the first book I have DNF'd in the longest time. Like, I listened to the book for an hour. And I just couldn't do it. It was, I don't understand it. It was so... I'm sure it's good. I just... So then I'm like, okay, I'll listen to another audiobook, and I'm like going through my stuff. Carsick, John Waters. Holy shit. This book is great. Okay, John Waters, at the time he wrote this, was in like his mid-60s. he decides he wants to hitchhike across America just to see what it's like to do it as a old man kind of thing. And so the book's broken up into three parts. One is the worst or the best case scenario of him going across the country. Second is the worst case scenario. And then the third is what actually happened when he went. The best case scenario and the worst case scenario are so good. If that was the book, it would have been 5 stars. But then when we actually get into what really happened, a lot of the drama falls. Not because it wasn't interesting and it wasn't good, but like the things that happened in those other two parts of the book were so huge and memorable that the rest of the book was just kind of a letdown. So I gave it 4 stars just for the first 2 parts of the book because it's fucking hysterical. If you like John Waters, director of Hairspray, Pink Flamingos, Polyester, Cecil B. Demented, fucking Pecker, Serial Mom, I mean, Multiple Maniacs, Desperate Living. He's amazing. Then we didn't accidentally go. We went to the Dollar Tree again, and I saw a book, and I picked it up. Again, not paying too close attention. So I see this. All I see is Joey Ramone and a paradox. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't even care what this book's about. And I picked it up and I got it. I didn't even read the back. I just opened it up and started reading it when I got home. It's called I Want to Be Your Johnny Ramone by Stephanie Kuntert. And there she is. Hey everybody. I'm super edgy. Super edgy. MTV Bucks. Super edgy. Super edgy. Now, I believe this is a YA novel, okay, because the stuff that happened in it was so just fantasy orientated. Not like there were dragons and stuff, but it's just like, ew, I picked up a guitar. I'm in a band. Oh, we're famous now. Like, just like everything about it was so like ridiculous. But I kept reading it because I kept wanting to like have some of these like bits about the Ramones or something. The actual title comes from a Sleater-Kinney song, which I was like, oh shit, I should have caught on to that one. But I was a teen the same time this chick, or at least the character in the book was. So all the bands that were coming out, the songs that were popular, like, I knew it. And like, when this book was written about, the band that she's in is called She Laughs, which is just horrendous when you look at like the other bands that were around that were like that at that time, like Hole, L7, 7-Year Bitch, Veruca Salt. Like, there were just so many like awesome like either all girl or girl fronted bands that were really edgy and like made punk rock not so like hardcore, but like more mainstream accessible. That wasn't the worst bit of the book. I just thought that there were a lot of really bad, and this is where it comes into that whole thing where I hear a lot of other booktubers say things. The lessons that this book teaches, I think, are really awful. Like, this chick almost gets killed by this guy, and the cops are like, do you want to press charges? And she's like, no, I don't feel like doing that right now. And she's all like angsty. So, okay, this guy is going to kill you, but you're not going to press charges on him. And like, she should have said, no, I'm not going to do that right now because I kind of need him later in the book to like try something again, or else I don't have much of a subplot here. And then like, just like the way she acts, like the dad tries to help her, she's like, ugh, no. It's like really weird, and the use of sex and drugs and alcohol is like almost like, well, we're rock stars, that's what we do. Like, I don't know, like basically I hated that book on every level, and I haven't hated a book in a long time. And I kept telling myself something good's gonna happen, like there's gonna be some awesome shit coming. It never happened. The book came out in 2008, so anyone who probably would give a shit to do a review on it probably wasn't old enough when the book came out, or won't care because it's too fucking old. So goodbye. That, ugh, it was awful. So after I read that, I had to cleanse the palate a bit. So I like went and started looking through my Batman. I did Batman Year One. Um, the first bit, the first four that had like him and Gordon like going after it, and Gordon cheating on his wife, spoiler, and like the Catwoman trying to find out who the fuck Batman is and all that stuff. And then went to the Raja Ghul Year One Batman, and then the Scarecrow one. The first one, I loved it. 4 stars. The other two, not so much. And then the last one, the one with the Scarecrow in it, like Robin shows up at the end to have like one of those ha 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 endings with Batman. And I almost wanted to like rip that page out and just go, okay, this is fine now. This page, not so much. I think that's pretty much it. I'm halfway through Continental Op by Dashiell Hammett. Hopefully I'll have this done today. And I'm struggling to get through Joyland by Stephen King. And I thought because it was a hard case crime book that I would be all over it, and it would be like just what it would be, like the Stephen King that I would want. But no, like a third of the way through the book, nothing's happening. And are you ready for this shocker? The main character wants to be a writer. So, write what you know. So, bye bye, BookTube.